Hello, storyteller, storytelling. We're on a little YouTube video here on the paganism that's taken over the world. And paganism is the pagans won't say they're pagan, like all these different types of pagans, but they're all pagan. What is paganism? Well, paganism, I'm not talking about the historical Latin phrasing of it, but today's meaning of it. Paganism is just anyone that believes that through their own works, through their own rituals, their own rules, they can choose to go to heaven or not. Pagan, that's how I define paganism. I know it's like, oh, Ron, you can't define it, but paganism is anyone that just doesn't believe in Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, and God and Jesus Christ as sovereign. That's how you can figure out if someone's a pagan. They don't believe God is sovereign. If they believe God is sovereign, with an asterisk, with exceptions, then God is not sovereign. If God is sovereign, then you're a Christian, because God gives us grace and saves us through His grace, through His choice, not ours. And there's a lot of Christians who kind of don't believe that, and I still have I have hope for them. And to me that may not necessarily be it may not necessarily be a salvation issue because they just don't understand that concept yet. But if they fight it or completely against it, I'm going to question that faith, because the final tier of joy I had in Christianity and it took me a while to realize it too, because I was a Christian way before I understood grace and God choosing to save us, then the elect. So there's that. But once I understood that part, I was like, wait, God chose me? Well, let me get back to God. Wait, I thought I decided, that I liked this Christian thing and the motifs and the results of that amongst the people and the politics and the history. And so I decided to save myself and get to go to heaven. I get to open the gate and do the combo lock to open it and get in because I'm so smart and wise and discerning. I thought that's what it was. God, he's good. He's wonderful. I can see it, his all power and creation. So I like that, and I decided to go ahead and be a Christian and love him. And no, that's not that final tier of understanding Christianity is that, wait, so he already knew who I am. He already built me. He already knew what I was going to do, including wicked people. He has set the game. He has set the game, the board, the role-playing game. He's the GM, the ultimate GM. He has set everything. He knows the beginning. He knows the end. He knows who you are, how good you are, how bad you are. And he's letting you roll dice for sure. You do get to roll dice. And this is kind of, now that I'm just thinking about it, this really is. RPGs are really an amalgam kind of a Christian, of the Bible. The Bible is, God is basically setting the game setting, and he is putting in wicked people, the clay jars. If you read that part, if you understand that, we are clay jars, and he is filling us with whatever he decides. And then what he does, our freedom, there's no free will, by the way, in the Bible, but our freedom is in rolling dice, casting lots, and seeing what we can accomplish in the faith that he's already given us. So that's grace. Grace is that he's already chosen who's good and who isn't. Now, if you freak out about that and what the heck, maybe you're not chosen. But if you freak out about it and go, oh, am I chosen? I don't even, what, I don't get this. Understand. Maybe you are, it's all in the humility. That's kind of the basic first concept, or first, I think, understanding of if you really are saved, is your humility to want to learn about God and Jesus, like your desire, your inclination to go that direction. Why am I going off on this? Anyway, paganism. That's what I start off with. Paganism is those who don't believe that. They believe, I'm going to save myself. I'm going to do this and this and this. I'm going to follow these rules. And I am now the savior of myself, who I get to go to nirvana. I get to go to whatever. I am a good person. I'm a good person. If there is a God, I'm going to go, I'm a good person. So if there is a God, I'm going to, after I die, I'm going to, I was a good person, I mean, the abortion thing was about women's health care. So I cared about them. And so I'm a good person. So let me just go ahead and open the gate and go into the heaven. Excuse me, sir, Jesus, excuse me. I appreciate, but I'm a good person. So I'm going to go ahead and go into heaven. That's kind of what the atheists think. Good luck with that. Anyway, let's go to this thing and what's going on in the world. Okay, paganism. London authorities defend using mounted riot police against St. George's Day crowd for going outside assigned area. I got to do a St. George's role-playing game. Christians, anyway, English. Because I go to England a lot. My wife's English, so I go there and hang out with them. Let's roll the tape and see how they treat climate, LGBT, and Muslim protesters. And I do like London. It's kind of fun to walk around. It's quite a bit to see and do. Just walk. I'm at that age now where I just want to walk around and eat things. And London's a good place to do that. Here in LA, it kind of sucks. I don't know. We just don't have culture here in LA. It's, if you're not in the entertainment business, the rest of the LA is just kind of, I mean, there's stuff to do, but it's all very segmented and far away. So you have to drive, and then each of those areas is pretty small compared to like London. You just can walk for 10 hours, and just see a bunch of different stores and shops and shopping areas and food areas and stuff like that. And then of course old architecture. Are you a Brit? Okay, so basically, for a tiny little St. George's Day, which is a Christendom English day of celebration, the police came in and pretty much messed them all up, and were so, and they only had a little tiny area they could even do it in. And here they are, the British police totally pushing on them, but when the Muslims and the liberals did the whole ceasefire in Gaza, it was obviously a massive thing. They could go wherever they wanted. The police did not stop them at all. And of course they, happy and supported them. Look at this. I mean, this is like, you got white men who are supposed to be hardcore right-wing Christians supporting fealty to Islam, right? And even the mayor is a Muslim, which is ridiculous. Anyway, and this is the Stop Oil thing where the police don't do anything. They let them get away with it. In the LGBTQ parades, all of this, they allow without any sort of control. Let them just go wherever, do whatever. And they will get attacked. BLM protests. They will they will cower as those people threaten them. And then in this one, a Jewish man is being told to leave because he's offending the Palestinians. So Jews, this is I've read the Bible over and over, Old Testament. Jews, you have a problem, and it isn't us, it's you. And I love you guys, but you're the problem. You're the problem in the sense of your vote for this stuff. You vote for seculars because you're so fearful of right-wing Christians. It's ridiculous. We love you guys so much. We would want to protect you and blah, blah, and protect Israel and all that, but you guys continually vote for the Democrats and the left and the globalists. And I think it's because God is making you stubborn. Because my Christian view is that you don't accept Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. But even in our Christianity, we know that there is going to be Jews in Israel. God has set aside, and the chosen people. So I'm not dogging you there, but I'm dogging you in the sense of you're choosing the wrong side, and that could be just part of God's plan too. But I'm begging you to roll the dice and choose us Christians and right wingers. Side with us. We love you guys. You keep moving away from us. Probably because we keep saying Jesus to you, you should, probably because of that. I get it, but still, you gotta get over that. You gotta side with us. Sadly though, a lot of secular Jews that are not really Jews, that are secular here in Hollywood, especially, are extreme progressive left wing, and we Christians have a problem with our own progressive Christians, but there's a lot of Jews that are progressive, and that's, horrible. So yeah, Jews, I love you guys. Of course, when you really follow God and the 10 commandments, if you can, it's hard, blah, blah, blah. But again, and of course to be a little harsh here, you are pagan in the sense of you're taking God's rules and saying, if I follow these rules, I get to go to heaven, and that's a problem too, even with Christians. God chooses, right? It's in the Old Testament, but it's very esoteric in a sense, that explanation of grace and God choosing and God knowing who you are and all. It's there, but it's so esoteric. Whereas in the New Testament, they say it pretty plainly. Poetically, really wonderful words, but very plainly, God is in control. God chooses, God chooses who's saved, who isn't. He's there's the elect. Our names are written in the books at the beginning of time. He already knows who's good and who isn't. And the quality of our journey in this earth is going to be weirdy, and I think that's the freedom part, like the quality of our sanctification, which is our journey to return back to God, is kind of where the freedom is in how we do it. Anyway, so yeah, we need to rebuild the church. If you don't rebuild the church, the pagans are going to do this. They're always going to side with Islam. They're always going to side with LGBT, anything but Jesus Christ. Okay, anything but Jesus Christ, they will side with. Even tyranny. Here in LA, I mentioned this in my next Twitter here, but here it's on my mind all the time. I try to join like a little local club to try to deal with the homeless problem that we've been having. Like I did a couple of years back, and they would not. I said, look, we just need can we the elephant in the room, can we stop voting for Democrats and vote some Republicans in, just to because it's so it's 100% Democrat here. None of them, they all poo-pooed that. Didn't want it. Nope, they're gonna vote Democrat because of women's health care. The Republicans don't believe in women's health care. They're gonna. I'm like, man, really? You want to sacrifice children? You really be more willing? You cannot give up your sacrificing of children just to clean up our neighborhood. Like they have to have their abortion. I'm like, this is hopeless. I got to figure out some other way to spend my time dealing with this horrendous paganism that is all around us. They would not. They see the crime around them. They see the horrific, disgusting homeless camps and crime that's happening all around here in Hollywood and LA. The empty stores everywhere. They see all the prices doubling, literally doubling. Like junk food. I used to get this crazy junk food for $15. Now it's 30. I mean, 30. I used to get like 2 burgers, 2 fries, go on my cheat day. Big manly Happy Meal, or not Happy Meal, just whatever. But big burgers, and it was like $15. Now it's 30. I mean, it's double. It's like they don't even. And it's not because of the food. It's not because of it's because of the policies. It's because of all the they keep regulating. They keep, the minimum wage keeps going up. They keep adding all these regulations to the restaurants and the fast foods and the grocery stores, and they just keep having to raise their prices because of it. And people here complain about all these little free market conservative things to solve that, so that people say business, but they never talk about the Democrat the policies that actually ruin everything. So they're literally just they're self-destructive. They want more tyranny. Everything for them is a government solve. And they don't want Christ. The reason they don't want Jesus Christ, the reason they don't want freedom is because they know that freedom comes with Jesus Christ. One last thing. So this guy is saying, I can tell you a Jewish New York University professor Scott Galloway blasts the double standard of the anti-Israel protests, says he would be fired if he said lynch the blacks or burn the gays. I can tell you, if I went into the NYU square with a white hood on and said I lynch the blacks or burn the gays, my ID would be shut off by that night. I would never work in academia again. There would be no need for the words context or nuance. I wouldn't be protected by the First Amendment of free speech. So he's obviously saying that they're saying kill the Jews or get rid of Israel, which is obviously very evil. But he voted for this. I bet you he's a Democrat, 100% Democrat. We'll vote Democrat again. He's voting for this subjugation of the Jews by Islam and pagans. And that's a historical thing too. Jews have always been subjugated by Islam and used by Islam. And that's one of the reasons why Christendom, the medieval Christians, had hated Jews, because they lumped them in with Islam because they only saw them with Muslims. Because the Jews were slaves of the Muslims. They were the advisors and the bankers and the accountants or whatever of the Muslims. And because the Muslims knew they could use Jews as a slave accountant, and so they could trust them more than they could trust their Muslim, people or leaders or whatever, advisors, because of their inferior status. But the medieval Christians always saw Jews with Muslims. So of course they're the enemy, in that sense. But, and I said, don't most Jews vote Democrat? Isn't that what he wanted? I mean, isn't that what you wanted? You wanted to get rid of the church, the Christian faith, the freedom of Christianity that affords freedom for anyone that is about freedom. Jews are about freedom, basically. Not Hindus. They believe in the slave caste system. A Buddhist to me, and are decent and Jews, and that's about it. I don't know. I can't think of any other religion that really believes in freedom, because Hindus don't. They believe in the caste system. Islam doesn't. They got their hardcore. And this one too, Colin Rogue, the poster. Notice he didn't add in kill the whiteys, because so even he is like being careful about what he says in the left sphere. I mean, he won't say kill the whiteys because obviously that wouldn't matter at all to anyone. You can say that all day long and keep your academia. But lynch the blacks or burn the gays is obviously not something you can say. And you certainly can't. And what about Islam? He certainly can't say anything about Islam. And he didn't say anything there. But I don't know. I just hope the Jews start to realize that at least the ones that God is calling back to him, and he will call back many Jews back to him in the end times. And it says in the New Testament that he will do that. So I don't know. It's feeling kind of crazy out there, right? Feeling pretty crazy that we're allowing all this evil, this paganism to rise in America, and as Islam, as Wiccans, as all the other pagans, the paganism of Greek mythology, the paganism, every paganism out there is on the rise, and Christianity and the church are in retreat. Thusly, I am in my little RPG culture constantly saying we need to bring back church evangelism. That's actually the game. The game is my role-playing game, which is like Dungeons and Dragons. You get to have fun adventure, fighting, shooting, sword fighting, and everything crazy, because we love that silliness. But you also get to work on your evangelism and the concept of church planning, and you teach your kids that too. And you have fellowship with that with your friends, and you actually get to say the gospel in the game. And then I get to, as a GM, get to role play people being either angry and responding with anger because they're definitely not chosen, or responding with and converting. And so that's kind of fun for me. Cause either one's fun, because the one when I hate the Christians, I get that fight and we get to have a fight. That's kind of fun. But when they convert them and I have to act like the Christian, someone new can convert, that's really deep too, man. That is a lot of fun for me as a GM and for the players. Now, does that mean we're wasting time here and we should go out evangelizing? No, because we need to practice. We need to. I don't have an understanding of evangelism, and most Christians don't. So we need to practice it. We need to get it back into the psyche of our culture, the RPG culture and the church culture. The church culture, I think, needs this game, or a game like it, to get their kids and their adults to learn about evangelism. Because otherwise they just throw them out there and then they don't want to do it because they don't know how to do it. I mean, if you throw a kid out to play basketball, they're just going to throw the ball crazily and then not want to do it anymore because they didn't practice. They didn't do drills and get it down. The whole point of this role-playing game, well, to me, the biggest point is it's a lot of fun, and it's intense. But the other big point is we need to practice. We need to drill evangelism. We need to do drills. And that's why this game is to me a godsend. It's a blessing. I love it, and I'm working hardcore on it. So it's available, the second edition, which is kind of like the final version of it, which I'm just finally getting the last bits of it finished up and covers everything. It's a matter of days now, me posting it all. I'm just putting it all finally together, the final thing, whatever. Anyway, so it's available on my website, and if you do buy the version I have on there now, which I think some of that is the final. I think the Apostles of the Epoch is the final, and so is the Dark Ages one. Anyway, if you get it now, I'm going to give you whoever the final version when I get it out, which is in it very soon, like days. I have it done. I just want to get some proofreading going. But anyway, it's all done, and I'm now going to start on some campaigns and settings and get more of that content going. But finally, the rule book is done. Like, just getting that all polished and play tested for 3 years now. Lots of games, and you can see my games on YouTube. They're all up there. I threw. Not only am I the creator, I am the client of this game, and I put my stuff out there. I put it out there. Proof is in the pudding. My little chagrin here is that I not only do I do terrible YouTube videos, I freaking play the game, show you how I play the game. I make all this stuff. I make the scores. I'm a hardcore GM, which is weird, but I am. Anyway, all right. So, just another rant, babbling rant, just to keep the YouTube going and show you that I'm working on this ministry in the game of life. This game of life that God has created. He created a game of life for us. It's the hardest hardcore RPG of all. And remember, I mean, it really is. There is a heaven, though. So when people talk about, oh, you shouldn't talk like it's a game, all this horrible wickedness and evil. Yeah, I get there's horrible wickedness and evil. There is, for sure. Torture, sadistic rape that they did on October 7th. Sadistic rape. Not just rape. Sadistic. Okay, so there's horrific stuff out there. Children. The demise of children breaks my heart. But we as Christians have an answer to that. We have heaven. God takes the children in to heaven. They go to heaven. You atheists, what happens to children when they die horribly? Nothing. Nothing happens. There's no hope. There's nothingness. They just suffered and died. I don't understand why you chagrin God and Jesus and the evil that exists and the wickedness that exists. When you have, your answer is it doesn't matter. They just die and they're gone. That's the answer you have. And you don't even know if that's true or not, yet that's what you want to believe. Not that is what you believe. That is what you want to believe. Because you have no proof what happens after we all die. We have no proof either, but we have the Bible that explains so much in this world and so much that's happening and so much about creation science that's being proven over and over and over. So much of the claims in the Bible are now being proven through science. I am just like, whoa. And so I believe and tested and have come to the conclusion of, and have looked at societies all around the world, historically and today. Yep, Christianity freaking works versus others. Christianity says we're all sinners. We're all fall far short of the glory of God. So even us Christians are failures. And guess what? But Christianity got that right too. But statistically speaking, we Christians are way better at doing things, even in our foibles and stupidity, than any other paganism, than all the paganisms out there. We strive to do better, even when we do horrible, wrong things. Oh, I'm going to go on. Two things that we've done, I know we've done as Christians that are pretty bad. Slavery and the Roman Protestant struggle. The horrible, bloody, bloodthirsty Roman Protestant struggle in medieval times. But check this out. Both of those lasted maybe about 300 years each, right? In medieval times, it takes time for things to change or for us people to realize, oh, we got to stop doing this. It's about 300 years where the most violent, like in Roman Catholics versus the Protestants, about 300 years from 1500, because Martin Luther, when he posted it, I think it was 1492 or whatever. I don't forget the date. But anyway, from when he started that, it takes many years for that to maturate out into the full-blown thing that happened, to when Catholics and Protestants just stopped killing each other, was about 300 years or less. And think about this. The longbow was the most devastating weapon of the English against the plate armor of knights and the French and all that. And it took the French about 100 years to realize that before they countered it. What I'm saying is it's 100 years. That's like 3 generations for them. So what I'm saying is it took a while for things to actually move, and change in medieval times. Because, communication and getting the word spread and all that. Thusly, the struggle of the Protestant and Catholic Church was only about 300 years. And then after that, it became peaceful. To me, that's pretty amazing. Same with slavery. Our slavery started in 1600s. Before 1900, we ended it because we realized how evil it was. That is not the case with paganism. In paganism, today, Catholics and Protestants don't kill each other. But in Islam, Sunnis and Shias still kill each other. I mean, openly. Like, whenever there's a terrorism thing, they openly attack each other. In paganism, people openly attack each other. But in Christianity, we grow up pretty quickly. I mean, it takes 300 years then, but now, I'm sure it'll be quicker. Like, even though Mormonism and Jehovah's Witnesses are, to me, false Christianity, and I won't accept them as Christians. We don't kill each other, over it. Like I follow a couple Mormons, even though I don't like get rid of one of your books, and I'll be impressed with you more. So the Catholic and Protestant struggle that sort of undermines, Christian legitimacy, to me doesn't, and it needs to be addressed in that sense. It only lasts 300 years, and that's in medieval times. That's pretty short, That's not the 2,000 years or from today to known history that slavery has existed in Islam and paganism. Pagans never ended slavery. They might have renamed it to something nicer, but they never ended it. But we Christians in the Christian world, it definitely, went to war to end it. So there's that. Okay, so in the game of life, roll holy dice. I got to get back to work.